Ice graves, witness to the Franklin expedition's fate. My world was the biting cold of the Arctic, a place where the horizon stretched endlessly, meeting the sky in a thin line that seemed to quiver in the frost-heavy air. Days blended into nights under the pale glow of the perpetual sun, vital tasks filling the hours of our expeditions. As a surgeon and explorer for the Hudson's Bay Company, I lived in the rhythm of discovery and the constant grinding labor of survival. My mind was a map of routes sketched in memory rather than paper. This life suited me, even as it demanded every ounce of my strength and resolve. The Arctic was both a challenge and a muse, shaping me just as I sought to shape it, forging paths where none had been laid. It started with whispers, rumors that seemed to echo between the crevices of the ice and the biting wind. The Inuit spoke of men, strangers to these lands, their actions leaving lines of mystery in the snow. I listened, piecing together tales of ships trapped where no ship should be found. These stories swirled with the wind, icy breaths detailing a scene of desperation and eerie silence, where voices once strong succumbed to a muted despair. Our goal was to find them, the men of the Franklin expedition, lost in time's icy grip. I felt a chill deeper than the Arctic air, an unsettling omen of what lay ahead. The clarity of realization struck like a distant star's glimmer cutting through night's veil. I understood the true gravity of the whispers. As I wandered from place to place, speaking with those who traced these lands longer than written history itself, patterns emerged. Faces bore stories of starvation, desperate hunts, and signs of the unnatural. A grim feast commemorated in abandoned remains. Horrified, I stood upon frozen shores where destiny had led these men to harness time's cruel eventuality. The Arctic, once a place of exploration for me, now became a frigid and inscrutable graveyard. Every step felt heavy, pressing deeper into a brittle crust of ice and uncertainty. The hunt for answers escalated, and I moved swiftly between Inuit camps and the ghostly echoes of the lost. I gathered evidence piece by piece, scarred artifacts, the shapes of bones beneath spectral landscapes. Legends spoken softly of cannibalism emerged as historical fact. My role shifted from surgeon to mourner as I traced the suffering etched into the land. Each camp brought new insights, but also questions that gnawed at my thoughts, like the unrelenting frost. The peak of our grim discovery unfurled with the icy wind, unveiling truths as stark as the bones scattered across the snow. I stood among skeletal remains, the sun casting long shadows of death over the ice. Here was evidence, undeniable and raw. My heart hammered against the icy cage of my chest as I documented the grotesque reality that the elements had hidden for too long. Human, yet so alien against this landscape, these remains spoke in silent accusation of the savage desperation the men faced. Honor lay stripped, bared by survival's darkest demands. In the aftermath of such revelations, I stood on the brink of moral and historical precipices. The world would know the truths I uncovered, but the telling left my own soul chilled in Arctic solace. I reflected on humanity's fragility, on survival at any cost, and the stories woven by those left with no choice. My mission continued, driven by a deepening understanding that truth, once found, must be shared. Yet, as I returned from the edge of the Arctic silence, I carried the weight of voices silenced by ice, no longer named, but never forgotten. Upon returning to the lands warmed by sun and fires, the heaviness within me lifted only slightly. As I conveyed the bitter truths to those who demanded answers, controversy stirred like unsettled silt in a once clear stream. Accusations flew, emotions raged, yet I held resolute, the tales I had gathered resonating with a truth colder than the Arctic ice. Sharing these truths became my solemn duty, a tribute to the men whose silent stories now hung in the stark balance of history. Endurance was both the fate of the living and the solace for those eternally entombed in ice.